Hello, it's Sarah. I'm trying to figure out the best angle I want to do this. I'm going to do a tutorial today, and it is these little memo notebook holders. I have a subby. She's a newbie. Pretty sure her name's Janice. Hi, Janice. And I mentioned in the share that I did on these that it was by Annette Green. She's the one who did the tutorial originally, and it was on her blog. She has a YouTube channel, but she doesn't do a lot on that. She usually does it on her blog. So I had made a bunch of them and sold them last year at my craft show, and this one's mine. I use it all the time, and they're awesome. And so I had found these little ones at my these are little memo notebooks, tablets, and I thought, well, that's kind of cute. Let me try it in a mini form. So I did make some in the mini form as well, and I just played around with the sizes, the size measurements is what I'm trying to say. And so I think I'll also share those with you at the end as well. I'm going to try these at my craft show as well. I just thought, I mean, I got these at the dollar store and they're attached, so it was a little bit, you just want to be careful when you separate them because it kind of makes them fall apart if you don't, because they're attached, the papers are attached at the top. So that was the only thing about that. But then the other ones are made with these. These are just staples. This is the recycled writing pads, but then I had these too. This was the only one I have left of the other ones I used, which I guess it wasn't a recycled one, but it's the junior size 5 by 8 inch writing pads. You know, they're the, I think they call them executive, I don't know. But anyway, so that's what we'll be using. I'm going to do the big one for the tutorial, and then I'll also share the measurements for the little ones as well. And I really love this one with the doily paper. It turned out so cute. So I'm going to go away and come back, and I'll have all my papers ready to go, and we'll get started. Okay, I'm back, and I've gathered up all my supplies. The first thing you're obviously going to need are these little paper pads that I talked to you about, and I got mine at Staples. You're going to need a piece that's actually the sleeve. This is like a you can change it out. When you're done with this, when you finish with the paper pad, you can slide this out, and there's a sleeve in here that you can just reload and put. Now the only problem with it was she actually puts this decorative paper on the top of your notebook too, so that it like hides the little staples thing. And I'm not going to provide extra paper. I mean, I could at least one more piece probably that would match, you know, because your pocket and your little the top of your notebook actually are matching paper. But for this sleeve, you're going to need a piece of 4 by 8. So I just used craft cardstock for that. 4 by 8. Cut that to 4 by 8. I'm kind of figuring out how I'm going to film these. I like the way the camera is now because I have room and I can see what I'm doing, but I don't know if it's good for you guys, but we'll get to that in a minute. Also, so for your covers, I have my trusty old, it's a heavyweight card file folder, and I got these at the dollar store. These were from my dollar store, and they are a heavy weight, so I'm using those. You can also use cereal boxes, or this was just the shipping. Actually, this was the back of the Claudine Helmuth, the sticky back canvas. This is what it was packaged in, and it's just like I would say it's a lightweight chipboard. So I'm going to use that for one too. So I've already cut them, and those are going to get cut to 5.5 by 8.5. So you need 2 pieces of that for your covers. I'm going to use that this time, so I'll put that over there. To cover those covers, so the paper that's going to cover your covers, you need to cut 2 pieces of paper at 6 by 10. And I'll show you how. I mean, a lot of people, you could use the whole thing. Not sure. No, I think you could use like just make the whole thing. No, don't do it. Just do it this way for now. But those of you who are not newbies, Janice, this is for you. This is just how she did it. And I'm going to go ahead and just teach it that way. So 2 pieces at 6 by 10. And I fussy cut out an image from this paper pack. Is actually, it's called the Art Collage Stack. It's die cuts with a view stack. And I fussy cut, so I'm just using kind of plain papers, but I fussy cut this little house out. That's what I'm going to put on my cover. So I thought that this paper looked nice. It was kind of like a sky. So I'm using that for my covers, and I also cut out Dream Big, a couple words and things. Anyway, and then this is for the inside. You're going to need 1 piece of pattern paper for the inside, which is 8 1/4 by 11 1/4. And that's going to be the whole inside of the book. So coordinating, but not too busy, because you want your inside of your book to kind of be calm. Then for the pocket, you need a 5 1/2 by 5 1/2 inch. And for the top of that notepad, the notebook, 2 by 5. So 5 1/2 by 5 1/2 for your pocket, and then 2 by 5 for the top of that notepad. That's how she covers up her notepad. And then I am going to be using the Claudine Helmuth. I showed this in my last video. Where is it now? I put it, here it is. I'm on to my white. I had the off-white color, and I'll show you the difference. This is the off-white canvas, and this is the white. But I'm kind of liking the white for this project because it's going to be like clouds, or, you know, I don't know. I think white will totally go fine with it. This is the off-white, or I don't know what they called it, what color they called it. But I do like and recommend this Claudine Helmuth sticky back canvas. It's, I think I got this at, I want to say, online, Ellen Hudson. Probably Ellen Hudson is an online store, but I think you can probably find it anywhere now. Just not at my Michael's, or they may even have it at Hobby Lobby or something. I haven't looked, but it is a great product. There's 5 sheets, 5 8 1/2 by 11 sheets in here. So for your spine, if you don't have that, just cut a piece of pattern paper. And if you have Tyvek, which is the what is recommended by I'll grab it while I'm talking about it. This is from Staples as well, and it's made by DuPont Tyvek. This is like a shipping envelope, and I got these at Staples too. But it is made of Tyvek, and it's just a really industrial product. They use it for siding houses and stuff. It's waterproof and stuff like that. So Kathy Orta always does. She reinforces her spines, the spines of her mini albums, with Tyvek. So I did that on a couple too when I didn't have the canvas, because I just think obviously canvas is stronger. It's not going to tear. Tyvek, I mean, if you have a paper spine, it may tear, so you may want to just reinforce that with some Tyvek. So you would cut that. Your spine is going to be 3 by 10. So you just need a piece of either the canvas at 3 by 10, or, I mean, maybe doubling up on cardstock would be a good idea, but it's just, you know, it's going to be open, close, so you just want it to be something that's going to hold up. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is create our covers, and to do that, just going to cover I am actually using a lightweight chipboard for this, with this paper. And the way she does it is, and I've created mini albums before where you cover, it would have a 1/2 inch on this side too, and you would just cover the whole thing. But I like the way she's doing it, because you don't really need this edge covered. You'll see how it works out. So we're going to go ahead and do that first. And the way I am using wet glue, and you can use your favorite adhesive, that all is up to you. I actually have done it with a dry adhesive as well. Because I live in New Jersey and it gets humid here from time to time, I have just kind of taken to wet glue because it just stays together. I've not had a problem with it coming unstuck. So, I mean, I'm just going to take my wet glue and go around the edges of one side, around the edges on this side is what I mean. Kind of up and down, just a thin coat. This is just to kind of get it adhered onto the paper to begin with. I'm going to flip it over and then I'm going to center it up against the one side. So that, and then just give it a second, push down, make sure it adheres. I know a lot of people, I've seen videos where people were using wet glue, or don't use wet glue because they think it buckles, and I've seen that too, like when it dries, when everything's dry, wherever there isn't any glue under here, the paper can buckle and stuff. So I mean, I am not pushing any type of glue on you. Use your favorite glue. That's all I'm going to tell you. I use different glues for different projects. You know, even like hot glue. People love hot glue and they'll do everything with their hot glue gun. I just use hot glue for certain things. I love Fabri-Tac for like adhering all my ribbons and fabrics and stuff. So you're going to need to figure out what glue you like for paper. Go with it, and here we go. The other thing, like I'm just kind of using this bone folder to kind of score this, because you could go ahead and score everything first, but nothing like, I mean, I think I could have cut this a little wider, but this is 6 inches. So you know what, I'm going to take my book and just make sure. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. I followed her measurements for this, so that's what we're going with. I'm going to go away and come back. And I actually learned this from Annette Green, this little technique. When I've made covered covers in the past with paper, I've actually cut this away and the little corner of the chipboard would show. But the way Annette does it is she folds this corner in. And you just score and get it tucked in there. And I'll do it to the other one. Just keep it nice and straight. And this way, if you adhere that down first, you're not going to see the corner of your chipboard. Your chipboard will be covered, with paper. So give that a second to adhere. When I work with wet glue, I generally have a paper towel or an old, I call them butt wipes, an old wet wipe nearby, because it does squirt out and you want to make sure it all, so that's nice and adhered. And now I fold these up, burnish that down a little bit, give it a nice tight fold, just so it all sticks really well when you do your glue. And then you could also, what do they call it, miter these corners if you want to. I mean, you don't have to, but it just, I don't know, it's neater, and you're not going to see any of this, so it's not necessary. But I'm going to go ahead and glue this with you, and then I'll go away and do the other cover and come back and show you the next step. So I just kind of put glue all along in this, and then you got to kind of be ready to pick up or to wipe up some of that comes out, but give it a second, hold it down. My battery's blinking, so when I go away I'll change my battery. So for Janice, she's my newbie who wanted the tutorial. I'm really happy that you did and that you asked, because I really thought this was a super cute project. It's not a lot of work. It's pretty quick and easy, and it's such a great little gift to give teachers even. I think that's perfect little teacher gift. But just a stocking stuffer for a tween that's in school. That's who I was kind of marketing them towards at my craft show. Just a little something that it's a little more personalized. It's a handmade gift. Especially if you're going to make it for your tween, it's even better, because you know a little something about them to put their personality in. So that's it. Now look, you can see how those corners are mitered, and you don't see any chipboard coming through. So I'm going to go away, change my battery, do the other one, I'll be right back. Okay, so the next part you want to do, so I have my covers, it's basically it, and they have no paper in the middle. I've removed my mat so that you can see my disgusting measure thing. But anyway, I do this because when I put the spine on, which, where did I put it? And hopefully this won't get dirty. I don't want it to get dirty. I think that's glue. I like to put this down. First I have to take the sticky back off, but I'll show you. And then you can kind of like, there should be a 1/2 inch in between the two covers. Okay, so I like to kind of, let's see if you can see this. I really don't want to zoom in because then I'll forget and everything else will be out of the shot. So basically, for this, like maybe I'd move it down to the 1/4 inch spot, right? I like the dots. I'm going to go there. And then when I'm lining up this side, for instance, I know that I want to go right onto the line here. So right onto this line. And then I can follow the dots on the side to make it straight too. Let's see. Really that, okay, no, that's going to be the line there. Yeah, and then this side, a 1/2 inch away. So I would, obviously I'd lay that down, stick it down good. And then this side, so basically that's what you're going to end up with. So I'm going to go ahead and, but that's just a little tip I would use. When I did my little ones, because they're little, they're, let's see. When I did these, when I used sticky back canvas for these too, I just put my ruler, like, I'll try and get better angle. But I just like set my ruler, because I didn't move my mat, just too lazy to move it, and just laid this there, kind of 1/2 inch, because it's small enough that I'm a pretty good eyeballer. I don't, I rarely kind of make it too wonky, so if you're, you know, pretty good at it, don't worry about it. But I just like to give you that tip. This was very helpful with me, even with, when I've put on duct tape bindings before, and stuff like that. Like, it's just handy to have this mat. So I'm gonna, it's pretty sticky, but I'm gonna try and lay it down, like I said, right in that area where I kind of have an idea. And then I'm just gonna take make sure everything's going the right direction, not upside down, and hold it above, ooh, itchy eye. About, like, leave about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 on the ends. But I'm gonna try and line up right there. And right there. And just set it down and kind of give it some pressure. I'm going to flip this around too because I'm just a right-handed person and I think I'd rather do it from this side. But I'm going to give myself a 1/2 inch. So I'm just going to put my lines now at the line and then kind of find the 1/2 inch mark on both sides. Eyeball it and set it down. So that's what, it's really easy with the sticky back canvas. It's already stuck. Then you're just going to take the top and kind of push it down, fold it down and adhere that, and push this up and adhere that. So that's all adhered now. Now your book is adhered. Alright, so you have your spine, and actually that does look a little crooked. Oh well, you know what's great, because I will probably put, even though I'm going to put this here, that'll cover it up enough. I'm going to put Dream Big here too. Sorry, this is not necessary to tell you, but I'm going to put Dream Big, so it'll be camouflaged enough that I don't need to worry about it. But it, you know, you kind of do want your spine to be straight. Like, you can kind of tell that's not exactly even. But I wing stuff. I'm not a perfectionist. I'm definitely a good enough. I don't get worked up and crazy over it. So the next thing you want to do is add your inside cover. So I've already cut my paper down. I have it ready. I'm just going to use, like, again, I'm going to use my wet glue and go ahead and adhere that. And I could do all this off camera, but for newbies, I like that word. I think it helps to see how someone does it. Oops, too. And I don't know how to speed up videos and add the music and do all that cool stuff, so I do it in real time. That's the only thing I've ever done. Just for this, just make sure you have nice on the edges there, because you don't want your edges to come up. I don't want my edges to come up. Maybe you don't mind, but I don't. Center that. And there's about 1/8 of an inch of room around the whole thing. I kind of push in the middle first. Push down in the middle and then kind of smoosh it to the edges, because when we fold this, we want to make sure you have a little pliability. And I haven't made one of these in a while, so I'm hoping this is true. This is true. So I'm just giving it a nice, adhere it nicely. Just give it a second. I'm going to pull in I'm going to let that dry, I think, before I even try to bend it. I'm going to put that aside and we'll go over to our pocket. I want to show you how I did this. Now she suggests 5.5 by 5.5, so I've already cut my square 5.5 by 5.5. Oh, and I want to show you on my scoreboard. That's what I'm trying to get. This is the little scoreboard, but I have enough room. So you're going to score at 1/2 inch on 2 sides. So I've got that scored. 1/2 inch. I see it better on that side, on both sides, because that's how we're going to adhere this pocket to the page. But then to make it into a triangle, all you have to do, and now I've made this line on my scoreboard. I just put, I guess, an ink pen in there, a marker of some sort, just so that like when it's covered up you can find that score again. And so that's what I'm doing here. I'm going to take both my edges here and put the corner of that on that 5 line, and I'm going to put the corner of this on this one, and I'm going to score that. So just hold it in place and score. So now I've created my triangle, and you can actually cut it there, but I like to double over the edge of my pocket, so I'm gonna, and I should have done this before I picked it up, but I'm gonna score again at 1/2 inch, so 5.5 for me. And that's where I'm gonna cut now. You could use your paper cutter, but I'm just gonna trim it by hand. Because we're gonna make the top of the pocket, so the pocket goes like this. We're gonna make the top of the pocket like a little more secure by having this extra. Let me put my scoreboard to the side. But yeah, I kind of figured that out when I was playing with the, actually I don't remember if she doubled up her pocket, the top of her pocket I should say. And just make sure that this edge is mitered enough so that you're going to be able to fold it over without messing with the side of your, I don't have words today, but there, so that it's not going to mess with this side. And then you are going to have to cut a little smidge of that and a little smidge of this, so that and you're going to cut a smidge of this and a smidge of this, because that is where we're gonna glue our, see, it's still sticking out a little. I'll show you what I mean. The pocket is going to be in there like this. We're going to adhere the pocket with these little tabs we just made, but see how that one's sticking out? So I'm going to make sure I cut that off so that it doesn't show. I think this one's sticking out a little bit too, so I'm just going to cut it a little bit more. So might as well, I'm just going to glue this down, this little flat part. It's a this is just going to be the top of the pocket. It just reinforces it a little, gives it a little more stability. So that's the top of your pocket. well, it turned off and I'm not sure where, but I did adhere this down the top of my pocket, and I've just made sure that that these little tabs that we created to adhere the pocket are not going to show when you glue it down. So just trim it up a little bit. You know what, I'm going to get my mat back in the picture here. I just like this. I don't like that pink. And get my cover. And I'm just going to work this a little bit. Kind of bend it. Oh, I'm not in the shot. Sorry. Okay. So we're just going to, I got my cover and I'm just kind of, you know what I'm going to take? Well, the bone folder, I'd rather have like something, I'm using this, actually that's rubber. But like something round. Ooh, I like this brush. Oh, this is gonna rip it too. Well, let's just use a bone folder and go into that crease there, and then this crease on this side. And now you can see that really good. And I'm gonna actually push. So now I've bent it so that this side shows, and I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. And just work in that little spine. Kind of fold it in half. Alright, so we're good. You just gotta work it. We can adhere our pocket now. Make sure everything's going the right way. Okay. And basically, I like to just put a little glue there to kind of hold that together. So I'm just gonna, I'll put glue on this side first. Mainly to the outside edge because that's where you want it to stay down. And just kind of push that down to get that adhered, and then go on this side and put it on the outside edge. See? And then just, I kind of stick it in the corner of this pink. And just, that's it. That will adhere your pocket. Give that a second to dry. I'm going to bring in my pad and I'm going to show you what I like to do with the if I could find my little this sleeve, to create the sleeve, is put it up inside the notepad, kind of center it, feel it out, see where that wants to fall. Let's see. So, because it gets kind of tight, but that's where I think it naturally wants to be. I'm going to pull this over. There's a little more over here than there is over here, so I'm going to wiggle it over. Try to get it even on both sides. And again, I am eyeballing. That's just what I do. I don't measure if I don't have to. And it doesn't have to be exact because you're not going to see the other part of the fold. But then I score it now. Like, I'm going to take this and just fold it up, and really not tight. Like, you don't want this really tight up against it. Give it a little play because you want to be able to slide this in and out without a problem, and make sure that you can get it out and put a new one in when you need to. So that's how I score it. And you can see it moves. It's gonna be able to move in and out. So now I'll take it out, and I'm gonna push it over, and just now I'm gonna make it a nice sharp. But I'm gonna make sure that it's on the loose side rather than the tight side. You don't want it tight. It's fine if it's a tiny bit loose. I'm also gonna miter these edges just a tiny bit, just because I like to do it. I don't know why. I just do. And then I adhere this as well with the notepad in the sleeve, because then you can kind of really know where it's going to sit inside your book. So I'm going to put this back in. wiggle it around and make sure it is, I hope my camera's not up, 5 minutes, in the right place. And then just kind of let it go to its natural. All right, then when we put it in, you're going to know where you want it to be. So if this is going to naturally fall into the sleeve, like if I just glued the sleeve up at the top, it wouldn't even go all the way up to the top. So you just want to make sure, like let me show you on mine just to double check and prove my point. My sleeve is not all the way up to the top. It's down because I did the same thing. I just kind of, and you want to make sure that it's not super tight. You want it to be able to come out. So that's what I do. Then I'm just going to adhere it. And you can use double stick tape for this. You can use, I am just sticking with my wet glue. That's it. I just like my wet glue. Cover it up. I guess I'll start at the bottom. Kind of center it on the sides at least. You have a minute to fudge it and move it over if it's a little. I'm going to go down a little bit. And that's it. And then I'm going to give it a nice push. And give that a second to dry. I have this 2x5 piece. I don't think she scored that either. I kind of forget now. But we're going to cover this notepad with this little strip of paper. I'm going to see if that'll slide out. Yep. Come on. And it did. And now I'll just give it a nice push. And set that aside. This is to go over this. So I'm just going to wrap it kind of. You could even measure from here to the top, and you could score probably. But I don't remember doing that. Let me see if I don't know where my scoreboard is. See, I think it's fine just like this. I just bent it. And let's see. Yep. Just as long as it covers that, and then I'm going to do the same thing in the back. And just, but it's probably about 1/8 of an inch score. And it just makes your pad match everything, so super cool. Oopsie. And like I said, I mean, for my craft show, I guess I could just cut another piece of this and stick it in there so that they could do this as well if they wanted to spiffy up their notepad. So I'm just holding it on this side mainly because you're not going to see the underneath as much. 9 minutes. Get out that extra glue. Give it a burnish. And that's it. And then that is sticking out a little bit. But I mean, I will trim it because I am usually a good enough person. But this is easy enough to just trim, as long as I'm not gonna wreck anything else. But I like that. Alright, so now your notebook's ready. And that's it, guys. Slide that down in there. And that's your little notebook cover. Now you can embellish this however you want. I am, like I said, going to put this little house on here. I'm going to use wet glue and just glue that down. I have this Dream Big, and I have some hearts that are going to be coming out the chimney, and I think that's it. But on other ones, and what I love doing is really covering the spine, where the spine, like this is pattern paper that I used on this one, and I reinforced it with Tyvek. So I just grabbed a piece of paper that kind of looked like fabric to me. That's what I was going with for that. Where's my other one? My purple one. I think I put it over here. This, I definitely, oh, this one's a great one to show you. This, I also used paper, but see how the paper's cracking a little bit? Because this paper also had glitter parts on it. It had glitter parts on it. So I would also recommend, if you are going to use paper, that it just be a nice quality paper that's going to be able to bend and fold without cracking. But I mean, it shouldn't be a problem, because I think I backed it with Tyvek. Oh, and you know what I like too about this one? Can you see how I like kind of pulled it in a little bit so that green is kind of showing? I like that too. So you can add your own little personal touches. Oh, I was going to say though, so to cover up the edge, and this again, I used paper. I guess I made all these before I had the Claudine Helmuth. And this has a little bit of glitter on it, but it's not cracking. But I just like to cover that area where the spine meets the cover with a little bit of ribbon, or, you know, this one I did ribbon too. I did 2 colors of ribbon to just like pull the colors of the piece. I fussy cut these words out from the pattern paper. I fussy cut out this butterfly and these flowers to kind of pull that up, this section up here. I really love how this one turned out. And you just use coordinating papers. So yeah, I even put the ribbon on the, okay, so that was a thicker ribbon that I used, and then I used the thinner brown ribbon to pull in the brown and put some flowers and stickled them up. So for this one, I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna play around with some ribbons, and I'll be right back and I'll show you how it turned out. Okay, so I'm back, it's all done. And I'm gonna come to the side again, but I'm down, I put the legs down a little bit on the tripod. So it's done. I just fussy cut out, and that's why what I love about like this stack, this is the page with the house on it. And so I just cut out the elements, the hearts, I cut out Dream Big. I used, I cut off this little birdie, and I used one of my buttons, and I did adhere that down with glossy accents. And also, when you cut the shank off these buttons, sometimes they come apart. Like you can see that there's like a little, it's in pieces. So I use glossy accents to glue him all back together. When I glued the paper onto paper, I used my wet glue, my Scotch Quick Dry adhesive. But then when I went onto the fabric, I did use Fabri-Tac, and I love Fabri-Tac. And this is why people just use hot glue guns, because they just think that the hot glue, and it does, it works, but I've had it pull off before, so I just don't trust it. But on fabric, I use Fabri-Tac, so I just put a little fabric under these 2 ends because of the canvas. I ended up using a piece of lace. Where did I put it? This is just, I think I got this at Hobby Lobby. I want to say Hobby Lobby. It's just a decorative trim. A lace trim, and it was like a cream color, which I love because of the white. It showed up, because I don't know if you can see it, and now you can't see it, but under the eave of this house was a little strip of lace. It was drawn on there. I'm gonna find it here. Where the heck are you, little sucker? Here it is. There's lace, see it? And so I tried to find something that would kind of go like that to make it 3-dimensional, and I thought this lace looked pretty cool, so I glued that on with Fabri-Tac again. The rest of it I glued with my Scotch Quick Dry adhesive. If it was just paper to paper, I put a little bit of the Fabri-Tac under here, and it is adhered. If it goes on the fabric, I'm telling you. So this heart was adhered with the Fabri-Tac, and this section of, my battery died, this section of Dream was with Fabri-Tac, and this section of Dream was just with the Scotch Quick Dry adhesive. So I just like to put that out there, because honestly, I have enough experience now, I have glue all over me, that I just know, like, different adhesives work for different things, so you should just use what works best. So here it is, my little book. This is probably Glossy Accents takes probably the longest to dry. I definitely don't want to mess with anything really if it's and even though that's on fabric, Glossy Accents is just one of those that's a really strong adhesive, but it doesn't dry quickly, so I'd rather use the Fabri-Tac. That's my thing with Glossy Accents, because some people just use Glossy Accents for everything, and that is a great way to go too, but it just doesn't dry as quick. Like this Fabri-Tac is dry. So that's my book. I love it. I think it turned out super duper cute. The pocket works just fine. See, you can put stuff in your pocket. And I just love them. I really, really like this one, how it turned out with fussy cutting that out. I did that on, see, I put everything over there. No, I didn't actually. These are, I just fussy cut out. This is from the same paper stack. I made these little mini books with that same paper stack. I actually just fussy cut out Fly and glued that on. But this paper was just there, and I just added the bling and a little punched butterfly up there. This one is actually, yes, this one I did the same thing. I used the flower paper, but I put You Make Life Beautiful. I fussy cut those out and just glued them on as my embellishments for that, and just to keep it real simple. So I'm having fun with this paper stack. It's like a mixed media type of paper stack, so I think I'm going to make another one of them. I just really love it. But I wanted to give you the measurements for the little one, just in case anyone wants to try it. If you happen to be able to find these are 3.5 by 5. And like I said, I'm pretty sure I got these at my dollar store. It was when I was going around looking for junk for my junk journals. So that is the size that I used for these little ones. They're the same construction, the same exact construction. I used file folders probably for my covers. I really like this one. This one turned out cool. The colors are just beautiful. And the blue, it pulls the blue in. I had this lace, like, so I love it. But here, let me give you the measurements for that. So this, I'll put this in the description box. The small covers are 5.5 by 4. The paper covers that you cover the cover with, 6.5 by 4.5. For the spine, you need that 2 by 6.5. And you should still leave at least a 1/2 inch room. Definitely, I mean, still go for a 1/2 inch of room, because I did one, just FYI, the first one, and it's not here. The very first one I did, I didn't leave enough space. It's here somewhere, oh man. And when I put the book in, because I figured I would use it for something, but I don't know where I put it now. When I put the paper pad in, there wasn't enough room here. So you really need to leave at least a nice 1/2 inch gusset there for you to close your book, and then the book stays closed. It won't open back up again. So that's what's important. When I put the first one I didn't leave enough space, and it didn't close right. So that's what I love about these. These really close. Let me get back to this. So for the spine, 2 by 6.5, but when you're gluing it, that's what I mean. Make sure you attach your spine with that 1/2 inch in between the covers. 5.25 by 8 for the inside piece of paper. That goes over the whole entire thing. And then 4 by 4 for your pocket, and then just score 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, and then remember how we scored that, and then cut the extra off, and then you have your little pocket. So I'll put these in the description box. What was I just going to show you real quick too that just popped in my head? What in the world was I thinking? All right, I don't know. It went away. I hate when that happens. All right, so if you have any questions, leave them for me in the comments. And I hope you liked it. I hope I covered everything. I'm going to go put this together now and have a look at it and see what it looks like. And thanks for watching.